YouTube, welcome back to the channel. You're watching Gunplay TV, and today, as we can see on the table, we are continuing our MCX build series, this time focusing on the Forward Controls Design PCM-L. And so, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'm going to ask that you pause this video now, scroll down, take a look for that subscribe button, and once you found it, go ahead and give that a click for me. I do appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get straight into this.
Reach for the sky.
Alright guys, so the PCM-L from Forward Controls Design, all of their products seem to have something of an acronym, but in this case, as we can probably see over here to the right, provided there's not too much glare, that's going to stand for Panel Cable Management M-Lock Long. Okay, so I suppose PCM-L is a bit of a simpler name. Neither here nor there. What it is for, of course, as the name implies, managing your light and laser cables. Okay, and so they make this in a variety of sizes. Again, we've got the long one here, which will cover 2 M-Lock slots, and they make a smaller variety, which will cover 2. Now, I went with the longer one. I think it looks a little bit better, and I figured even if you don't need the full length of real estate there, you can always use it like a smaller unit. So I went for the larger one. Now, these things are not cheap. Before we go any further, this thing came in after tax and shipping around $54 for a small M-Lock aluminum panel. Now, it is well made, well crafted, as pretty much everything is from Forward Controls Design, but let that say what it will. There are cheaper cable management options out there from the likes of Emissary. Arson Machine actually makes a wire guide for M-Lock as well. But when it came down to, trying to get the nicest and, Gucciest option, for lack of a better term, I did decide to go with Forward Control. So just know, if you're interested in one of these, you are gonna pay a pretty penny for such a small piece of product. Now, I've already messed with this a bit, as we can see, right? I've got my cable routed through here and up and out the back. And once I get my mount in, which for whatever reason is delayed by UPS, they said that they had a mechanical failure on one of their rail systems. I don't know. But once that comes in, I can further adapt this and make sure that it'll fit. But I've kind of already lined this up with the plan of placing my M-Lock mount right about here. And that should keep our mod light pretty much flush with the front of the rail, right? Okay, and so if we are gonna mount it here, again, it'll be pretty much flush with the front of the rail, and I've already evaluated and verified that this will in fact fit, provided that the mount will allow me to hold my light right around here. Now, I figured during this video what I'll do is actually show you guys how this installs. I'm not sure I quite like how I've got this set up right now, primarily because the way I've got it, well, this cable runs in front of the M-Lock slot where I'm going to subsequently be mounting my mount, right? And so that could potentially be a problem. I don't have a mount here just yet, as I said before, to truly verify and test fit. But I think what I'm gonna do is have it, again, from the tail end running this way, under, and then up and out the top. And as we do this, I'll show you guys a bit of how this thing works, okay? And so stand by, I'm going to pop this rail off of the MCX, just because some of these M-Lock fasteners are a little bit finicky, I found at least. And so we'll also get a better look at that once I pop off the rail, so stand by. All right guys, so we're back in. As I've said, I've gone ahead and removed the rail from the MCX. Kind of a sidebar, but probably one of the cooler features of the MCX is the fact that you can remove that handguard without really any hardware, right? You kind of pop that front takedown pin and you just yank it off, and I suppose that would allow you to, facilitate a barrel change or whatnot. But in this case, it allows us to get a better look at the inside of the rail and really ensure that, these fasteners are truly at right angles, which we can kind of see. I'm not sure if those will come through on camera, but they're not quite where I like them. But neither here nor there, right? I need to pop this off to rearrange and reroute the cable, and that'll also allow us a look at the underside and get you guys an understanding of how this product works and, its pros and cons, right? So I've got a simple Allen key here. I will go ahead and loosen these M-Locks. Got them pretty torqued down at the moment. All right, so as I loosen these down, you guys will actually probably get a vibe of what I'm talking about, right? These fasteners, typically when you begin loosening your M-Lock, the M-Lock teeth, if you will, begin to rotate as well. They don't seem to want to do that. And so they need a little bit of persuasion in either direction. And so give me a second as I pop this thing off and we'll take a look. All right, guys, so we are back once again. I've got the M-Lock fasteners in the proper position, and we can see that this thing will just drop right off the rail once they do in fact rotate. So if I flip this over, it kind of allow you guys a look at the underside. You can see essentially what they've done here. It's essentially made an M-lock, almost like a rail scales style grip, if you will, but it's a bit thicker than normal to accommodate different thicknesses of cables. Now, Forward Control says that, you know, when they worked with TNVC, the night vision company, or Tactical Night Vision Company, I'm sorry, you can see their logo there on the bottom, they made sure that this would accommodate the vast majority of laser and light cables, right? And I believe Unity actually has kind of a thicker gauge of cable when compared to Surefire, Steiner, etc. And so I found that, you know, with a little bit of persuasion, yes, it will in fact accommodate your Unity tactical cables, which are a bit thicker, if you will, right? Now, one other thing that they've claimed, and I've seen that they've done with the design here, is made sure to incorporate radii, or radiuses, if you will, to ensure that even as you route your cable around these, you're not getting any kinks or any sharp angles in that cable that would otherwise cause it to have issues firing, or get it to short out, you know, down the line. And so I like that they've done that. When I put this thing in here, right, I did feel like I was twisting that cable quite a bit, but you'll notice that there are no direct right angles. And so overall, right, the length of your cable should be, or the lifespan of your cable, I should say, should be preserved. Now we'll also notice there are several entry points, which also serve, I suppose, as exit points for your cable at several points on this panel, right? So we've got 2 here on the back, 2 here on either side, which we can see I've got an exit coming out of there. And so you can essentially, depending on how your cable's running, I suppose you could theoretically even get 2 cables to route through this, depending on how you route it. You have a number of outs to ensure that you get a good placement on your rail and you don't have excess cable exposed, right? Which I do like. So as we said, when I was looking at this previously, I think I like my cable to exit, or enter, I suppose, right? Coming from the hot switch, or the hot button rather, in through this slot here, and of course we'll keep the existing exit point. So I'll kind of show you guys how that works. You kind of just pop your cable out, you give it a little bit of a twist there, you press that thing down, and then around those radii, and back out. And just like that, you know, you've reconfigured your cable arrangement. Okay, and it's really that simple. Now, one thing I like about this is it is aluminum, and so when compared to some of the other options like those from Emissary and Arson Machine, they do leave a little bit more cable exposed. And so once this is down on the rail, well, your cable's pretty much secured and protected from any snags, sharp objects, or otherwise, right? And so this thing is going to be a quality product. And again, in keeping with the Forward Control's design ethos, right? Those guys really make good stuff, and you're gonna pay for that quality. But all in all, right, I am a fan. So we'll see if this fits just the same on the rail. I'll plop that back down. Let me rotate this M-lock here, and we're back down, right? And so we can see that this seems to work all right. And in this case now we have kind of opened up that M-lock slot for when we place our mount there. We should not have any issues with clearance with that wire in the way, right? And so simply at that point, you could M-lock these down. I'm sorry, M-lock. You could Loctite these down. But I'll just go ahead and crank them down because, again, you know, I don't have my mount just yet. And so we'll see if any other adjustments are required once that comes in. So stick around for that video. But I'll flip this over and I'll show you guys, see if I can show you guys what I was talking about before, right? So we can see, hopefully this is coming through on camera. As I was tightening that, instead of rotating that Picatinny lug there, or Picatinny tooth, for lack of a better term, it just screws into it and doesn't quite help it to bite down against the rail. So this is one of the pros with the MTX, at least in this instance, is I can reach in there and rotate that M-lock lug to ensure that it's at that right angle that I want it at before continuing to tighten it down. So now that that's in there, I'll crank that down a bit, give it an extra bit of persuasion just so we don't see it move loose. And we can see that that one's in there correctly. Now, with this other one, it's giving me the same issue. So I'm gonna loosen it a bit. I'll reach in there from the other side, rotate that to a 90 degree, and I'll do the same thing and lock that down. All right, guys, and so that's on there. That's pretty much it. That is the cable management system from Forward Control's design. Again, very sleek, very well thought out, I think, right? Those guys at TNVC and Forward Controls came together and made something that I think not only looks good, but functions well in addition to that. And so, you know, we'll see as we get this rifle through the paces. But all in all, I am very happy with the aesthetics and the presentation. You know, it's got that classic Forward Controls dimpled design, and it actually does feel quite good to the hands. Now, I think we'll be wrapping up this lighting series here in the next video, so stick around for that when I get the mount. I think you guys will like that. I haven't seen too much coverage on this particular mount online, but it is from a reputable manufacturer that you've likely heard of if you are into quality machined goods. So without further ado, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. If you've enjoyed this video, found it entertaining or educational in any regard, please, if you haven't already, go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there, please leave a comment for the algorithm. It really does help get these videos out there and circulated. And if you could, go so far as to leave a like and maybe a comment in response to someone else's comment. That really does help. With all that being said, I'm gone.